Payday 2 has got to be one of my favorite games of all time. I have about over 300 hours on it combined for Steam and PS4, and while that may not seem a lot, it's a lot for me. All of that to say, Payday 2 is an amazing game. It's no wonder it lasted as long as it did. Hell, it's even alive and well now. So, I'm sure you can guess how excited I was when Payday 3 was announced. Very. Did it hold up to expectations? Well, Payday 3's launch was rocky, to say the least. It launched without a single player, only about 8 heists, not a lot of customization. Its servers could barely handle how many players the game had. Its armor system was changed drastically, making it basically act like a second, albeit segmented, health bar, as well as adding this new system called Edge, Rush, and Grit that the game really depends upon a lot. Hell, the game didn't even have a crime net, one of the most iconic parts of Payday 2. It's safe to say Payday 3 wasn't really a good successor, launching without all the stuff that Payday 2, a game made 10 years earlier on an engine that could hardly handle the game, had. Payday 2 has a lot of stuff to it. It's a pretty meaty game. Over 70 heists, each heist having tons of RNG built into them, while Payday 3, as of now, only has about 15 heists. This is something that will be changed with time, obviously, but the main issue is that the game only launched with 8 heists as opposed to Payday 2's 12. Sure, it's only 4 more heists, but it's more the fact that they had a long time to make those heists, having about 7 years, being in development since 2016. A solid chunk of the heists in Payday 2 on launch were short in-and-out heists, stuff to get XP and cash quickly. They didn't drag out, nor were they longer than they should have been. Payday 3, on the other hand, launched with about 7 medium heists and 1 large one. Most of them dragged out for far too long, having meaningless filler tasks in between others. Moving on to stealth comparisons, one of my main issues with Payday 2 is that its stealth seems almost tacked on, like it's an afterthought. It's clunky and it's weird to work with, but pulling it off feels perfect. Payday 3, on the other hand, bumps the stealth up tenfold. Payday 3's stealth is fun, engaging, and actually feels like one of the things they put care into. For instance, in Payday 2, if you get caught in an area you weren't supposed to be in without a mask on, the guards will start firing at you once your mask is fully put on and a couple of seconds have gone by. In Payday 3, there's a tier system. In a public area, guards and civilians don't care what you do as long as it isn't legal. Stuff like stealing loot or pickpocketing keycards. In private areas, civilians don't care what you do, but guards, they do. If you're in a private area, the guards will escort you to the nearest public area and tell you not to go back to the private area again. In secure areas, if you get caught, civilians will alert guards, and the guards will handcuff you. If you get unhandcuffed, you'll immediately go into your mask. This is a much better and more realistic system, making the game more forgiving while still keeping it at least somewhat difficult. In terms of loud differences, the changes aren't that huge. One of the things that sets both games apart are the updates to the special enemies. These are special SWAT units that are meant to shake up the way the game plays. During assault waves, along with regular SWATs, these units will arrive periodically to shake up the way the current heist is being played. In order from most common to least common is the shield. They're a bit slower than average, they have average DPS and tend to spawn quite often. Enemies tend to huddle behind his shield, and you can get past him by shooting his visor. The sniper. Sitting on top of most roofs, these guys spawn slightly less than the shields. They're immobile, deal high damage, but telegraph the attack far before they shoot. You can either avoid their sightline, outrun their shot before they can shoot it, or shoot the sniper before they shoot you. The Zapper, the king of common special enemies, spawning just common enough to be with these two schmucks, but not rare enough to be with the ranks of the rest. The Zapper, aka the Taser's DPS, is just kinda okay. Their speed is average, but their bread and butter comes with their taser. If the taser bolt hits you and you don't kill them in time, you'll get tased, stunning you in place and forcing you to shoot your gun in bursts. The taser bolt does okay damage with each burst, and if you shoot their pack on their leg, they'll be stunned along with all the other cops nearby, getting a dose of their own medicine. The Nader, Spawning somewhat common, but just rare enough to get into this grouping, the naders do meh damage without their grenades, but they do high damage with their grenades. Their speed is average, but their bread and butter really comes with the ability to throw grenades that release a cloud of poison, making it so the heister can't run and takes heavy damage when going through it. Notably, if there are hostages nearby, then they will only throw the traditional smoke grenades, making it harder to see. You shoot their chest, and the grenades explode on them and the nearby enemies. The Cloaker. You know him, you most likely hate him. He doesn't need an introduction. Easily, this is the most iconic enemy in Payday. Hell, he might even be one of the most iconic enemies in video game history. His damage is low, but to make up for this, he's incredibly quick, being able to wall run, mantle, and slide. Before they reach you, they will make this sound. When they reach you, they will drop kick you and instantly down you. If a player can kill the Cloaker before they down you fully, then you can get back up. But if not, then the Cloaker cuffs you, having your bleed out time. It's also worth noting they can destroy your medic, ammo, and armor bags if you don't catch them in time. The Techie. The Techie is Payday 3's first new special enemy added post-launch. Introduced in the Syntax Era DLC, the Techie doesn't have high DPS, nor is she that fast, but she makes up for this with her drones. The Techie can send out drones which can shoot at you, dealing heavy damage, and take your edge, rush, and grit. The Techie generally tries to avoid you, preferring to hide in corners with her weird little shield cloaking system, rather than fight head-on. The Bulldozer. The king of enemies, the Bulldozer's hefty, thick, and a chunk of a man, wielding a rapid-fire shotgun, a bomb defusal suit, and a rude attitude. The Bulldozer is slow as hell, but has massive damage to make up for it. If you get close to him, he can kick you for massive damage, and if you're too far, he can charge you for humongous damage. It's hard to avoid this guy. He's loud, in your face, and doesn't care what looks the other cops give him. Around February of 2024, Operation Medic Bag was announced, a project trying to sort of revive the game. This project was to bring everything the game lacked at launch into the game, including, but not limited to, solo/offline play, better progression, CrimeNet/EUI overhaul, a quick play system, an unready button, daily challenges, etc. Upon being announced, the game entered this sort of renaissance. After they fumbled a few times. See, Project Medic Bag was about a year-and-a-half venture, so it would take them around a year or year and a half to make all the changes and fully implement them. So, obviously, they were gonna fumble here and then. Such as ammo funnel. This is probably the biggest drama in Payday 3's history as of recording this. Basically, ammo funnel is a skill that made it so if you have edge, then picking up any ammo on the field would put it straight in your magazine. If the magazine was full, it would be put in the reserves. The ammo funnel changes proposed were god-awful, making it a generic, boring C-tier skill at best. They proposed that your reload speed would be increased by 1% for each shot that hits an enemy, up to a max of 60%. The bonus expiring if you've reloaded or swapped weapons. This change would have turned one of the best skills in the game currently to a garbage C-tier skill at best. There are other fumbles, but quite honestly, I'm too lazy to look them up. :3, I added a :3 in the script. Not sure why, but it's there. For the most part, as of now, Payday 3's Operation Medic Bag is a general success. The ammo funnel nerfs were undone within 3 days. The progression system was overhauled, new content was released, quick play, unready, loadout renaming, and daily challenges were added. Solo mode beta was released. All very good things for the game's longevity. Let's go over the 3 most recent updates, the one that added all this stuff. Update 1.1.4. I lovingly call this one the progression update. Now, this update brought a lot of stuff, rotating modifiers for both loud and stealth, assassin, skill line, mask of the week, other stuff like that, including the techie rollout. But the main thing it added was a better progression system. See, the way Payday 3 originally worked was the progression was gated behind challenges. The heist itself would give you around 100 or so XP, while the challenges themselves would give you around 300 or 400 XP. Now, this was a stupid system. It basically meant you had to do stuff you really didn't want to do just to get XP, whether that be use your medic bag instead of your armor bag to get XP because you have a placement challenge or something like that, or use a specific underpowered weapon to get this many kills on a dozer or something. It was a pretty dumb system, but basically the way the new progression works is just about normal. Exactly like it does in Payday 2, basically. Basically, there are still some challenges, but those come in the form of daily challenges, rotating challenges that change about once every 12 hours, if I'm correct. These challenges there's only 3 of them, most of them being like stuff like place 10 medic bags, kill 5 enemies with the last gun, or with the last bullet in your magazine, that type of thing. You could re-roll 1 challenge per day. This is a much better system of still implementing challenges, but toning them down a lot more. Now, heists would reward you if you did them loud, if you did them in stealth, if you did them with all the bags, and if you did it successfully or failed. If you failed, you got like 50 XP, and if you succeeded, you got like 1,000. It was very, very, very good. You remember how I mentioned that sort of pseudo-renaissance earlier, how Payday 3 went into this renaissance after it fumbled a bit? Well, this is what spurred it on, was Boys in Blue. Boys in Blue was Payday's second DLC, Payday 3's second DLC to be specific. Boys in Blue obviously came with a heist, tailor pack, and weapon pack, just like Syntax Error did, but it also came with free content like every DLC normally does. Specifically, it came with a new heister, as new as it can get. Clover from Payday 2 is back. Clover from Payday 2 was, if I'm correct, the first character to be added in the game. It came with her, 3 free new masks, 2 new free weapons, and some stickers and charms. If you paid, though, you got the Boys in Blue heist, a heist where you need to go into the New York Police Department to get Vlad's totally, legally, definitely sourced legally gold that they took illegally. I know, it's a bit weird that the cops are the ones doing the bad things. That's like a thing that never, ever happens in video games, much less in real life. Are you joking? No, that would never happen. So you go into the New York Police Department, and you take his gold back. Of course, with this heist, you got the tailor pack, 4 new suits, new masks, and new gloves, and 3 new weapons, a new sticker, and a new charm. These are just kind of fancy items or whatever for, people that want to spruce up their gun a little more. They also added stuff like Steam trading cards and Twitch drops. These are lesser important things, but still notable. Finally, the biggest thing of this heist was solo mode beta. It's not fully solo mode, but this is a step in the right direction. A massive step in the right direction. It's also worth noting that they dropped the price for DLCs down. Syntax Error's biggest mistake was that it was $18 on launch. $18 for, albeit undercooked DLC. With this, they realized how stupid that was and changed it to around $12, a reasonable price. Overall, Boys in Blue is definitely what put Payday 3 back on the map for some people. Not like back on the map as in, guys, it's now as good as Payday 2 was, but back on the map for people that played it on launch and were disappointed with how it was. As of September 4th, 2024, Houston Breakout is the most recent DLC released for Payday 3. Update 1.3, aka Houston Breakout, is meant to draw parallels to Payday 2's Hoxton Breakout. See, in between Payday the Heist and Payday 2, Hoxton got in jail. He got caught, basically, because someone ratted him out. So, in Payday 2, there was a DLC called Hoxton Breakout, where, as it suggests, you break Hoxton out during transit from a more secure prison to a less secure prison. Payday 3's Houston Breakout draws parallels to this, not only with title, but also just general theming. Of course, this time, instead of breaking him out mid-transfer, you're breaking into a courthouse to take him out, where he's currently being held for trial. This update was very meaty, it had a lot of content. Aside from the DLC content, there was, of course, new stuff, new cosmetics, stuff like that, 4 new masks, new pistol, a new gadget, more Twitch drops, that type of thing. But it also added a free heist called the Diamond District. The Diamond District was meant to sort of emulate the quick hit-and-run style of heist from Payday 2, such as 4 stores. Basically, you go to an area in New York, fittingly called the Diamond District, where you have 5 diamond stores to heist from. You can take all of the jewels from each store, or hell, just one, or hit one store and that's it. Very quick, very easy moneymaker. This is one of the things Payday 3 really needed. So even though it didn't add anything big from Operation Medic Bag, it did add something the community has been wanting, that being a short, in-and-out, quick heist. To cap this off, I have an exclusive interview with the What89. That sounds super stupid without context, and it also sounds even dumber when you realize that it's a quote-unquote interview. It's barely an interview at all. Basically, if you just go into the What's Discord, I asked him a bunch of questions about Payday 3, and he answered, of course. That's awesome, and I love it for him. And I like it. I like that he's been doing that. Or I like that he's been willing to talk to me. By the way, this part is unscripted. I think you can tell that. I'm just looking for the Discord messages right now. Yeah, so here it is. So, questions and all started with, have you played Deadlock? He thinks it's mid. I thought it was pretty decent. So I asked him, what do you think of Payday now that Houston Breakout is out? He says, I think the game has a ways to go, but to be great, but to be... Wait, no. He says, I think the game has a ways to go to be great, but I'm liking the direction and hope it can make a comeback. I ask him, do you think it's good yet? He says, yes. I ask him, would you consider recommending it? He says, not for full price. I'd see how DLC 4 and Year 1 edition goes. And final question, do you think the game can make a comeback? If so, when do you think it'll reach Payday 2 standards? And he responds with, I think it can make a comeback, but overkill is walking on eggshells. And I think another big blunder could very well be the final nail in the coffin. I paraphrased that last part. He said, very well could be the last straw. I think final nail in the coffin works better. So that's why I have featuring the What89 in the title. If I don't, then I realized how stupid it was to put in the title, because he's technically not in this video. But it could give me some cool publicity and epic publicity and stuff. Yeah, that's the unfiltered. That's the unscripted part done. So, Is it good yet? This is an issue I have tried to answer but failed multiple times. I've had to rewrite this part multiple times just to sort of convey my actual feelings. The way I would put it is everything currently in it is very good, but there's not enough of that stuff to really make it worthwhile, to make it worth the full price tag, or hell, even really a discounted price tag. While I would say it's good, it's not good. It's certainly not bad. It's not as bad as it was a while ago on launch, but it's pretty good for what it is, for how far it's come. It's pretty damn good, and I think I would be safe to say I recommend this game when it's on sale. When it's off sale, maybe wait till a sale. But, I mean, the reviews wouldn't have gone back up to mixed if it didn't make progress. And I realize that sounds bad, but keep in mind Payday 3's reviews were mostly negative for a couple months. Overall, while Payday 3 is on the right track, it definitely has a long ways to go from the incredibly rocky, hell, almost unfinished launch that it had. while it has a lot of stuff now that can draw someone in and that we're missing from launch, it still has a ways to go. In fact, I'm going to be honest, this part is also unscripted. I don't know why I'm acting like it's not. Let me look at the roadmap to see what they still need to add. In fact, they still need to add the UI revamp. They still need to add full solo mode, server browser, better stability, stuff like that. In fact, they released this timeline or whatever. Not timeline. This roadmap. Better late than never. With the message attached, we want to continue to ensure transparency by providing detailed devlogs and provisional timelines of quality of life and content updates below. In September, about September 16th, they'll be releasing Year 1's final DLC, Fear and Greed. It'll have a heist, weapon pack, and tailor pack. It will also include Houston. It'll also include Houston. He wasn't included in Houston Breakout because he broke his hands. That's the defense. He broke his hands on the judge's face or something like that. And now he can't heist for like a month. It's clearly a last-minute thing. It'll also bring a new overkill weapon, new masks, new Twitch drops, that type of thing. And in October, we will get Year 1 edition, which I'm assuming it's just like a full bundle of stuff. We will also be getting a UI revamp, a server browser, voice chat, and more new Twitch drops. Overall, I'm hesitantly confident in Payday 3's future. With the trajectory it's going, it's definitely getting good now. Like, I wouldn't be able to say that it's, like, worthwhile yet, but it is pretty damn good right now. And I would say, if you can catch it on a sale, then hell, I think you should buy it. Thank you for watching this first type of video that I've done ever, like a sort of pseudo video essay. I wanted to do it for a while. I was afraid it'd be like too unoriginal, so I thought, what does no one talk about? No one talks about Payday 3 because no one plays Payday 3. So, yeah, thank you for watching. I don't typically like to ask to like and subscribe. I think it'd be pretty neat if you did. Yeah. That's about all. See ya.